What a disgrace. What an absolute disgrace. It is bad enough that Jim Kimmel has this unhealthy obsession with the Trumper. It's bad enough that Jim has an incurable case of stage 4 OMB. Orange Man bad. It's bad enough that his late night dump is nothing but 60 minutes of a grown man desperately pleading for the attention of presidential toxic masculinity. For the better part of 10 years, Jim Kimmel has been begging, begging, for Don Trump's attention. Jim Kimmel, he's like a little boy who's confused as to how he should communicate with his first crush. You know how when little boys have a crush on a girl, or in this case, how Jim Kimmel has a crush on another man? When a little boy has a crush on a girl, he'll start off polite. He'll pick a dandelion out of the weeds and give it to her. He passes her a note in class. Do you like me? Yes or no? But then, the little turds that he hangs out with, they find out about the crush and they start making fun of him. They tell him the girl has cooties. Instead of picking daisies out of the weeds, the little boy, he starts throwing the ball at the little girl during recess. He starts calling her names. He starts making fun of her. He does everything he can to hide his crush. That's what Jim Kimmel reminds me of in his ongoing obsession with Donald Trump. He's like the little boy who has a crush, but he does everything he can to hide his obsession because the virgins that he hangs out with make fun of him. The problem for Jim Kimmel, he's once again taken it too far. He's once again crossed the line in his desperate attempt to hide his obsession with the Trumper. It's one thing to make bad jokes about Don. It's one thing to sedate your rapidly dwindling audience with painfully boring monologues. But once you involve children, when you're actively indoctrinating children with transgender ideology, your ass should be fired. And to be honest with you, I'm wondering if Jim Kimmel might be trying to get fired. I'm sure you guys have had a job before where you know it's not working out. Management's pissed you off. Maybe you feel like you're not being paid enough. You can't quit because if you quit, you won't get your severance package or you won't get your unemployment. So you do everything you can to force the company to fire you. I'm wondering if that's what Jim Kimmel is doing. He was pissed off with ABC when they temporarily fired him last month. He likely knows that ABC is not going to renew his contract next year, which means he's going to be fired either way. Maybe Jim Kimmel is presenting these disgusting segments hoping he will get fired. Or maybe, this is another desperate attempt by Jim Kimmel to bring mainstream attention to his dying late night dump. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. So I want to get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Sugar Mountain Trading. As you guys know, I've got young nephews. The oldest is 8. My youngest nephew is 6. Like most young kids, they deal with various skin ailments. Psoriasis, eczema, itchy, dry skin. Hell, I'm not a doctor. I'm not qualified to diagnose what the hell it is. I just know it's a nuisance they no longer have to deal with because my sister started using oat and honey soap from Sugar Mountain Trading. This soap is ideal for sensitive skin, offering a gentle yet effective solution for various dermatological issues. Its American-made origins guarantees the highest standards of production. Also comes available with CBD. So if you're dealing with skin issues and pain, CBD version, take care of both. You'll be pain-free and smelling like fresh raspberries. Hell, that's literally the reason that my wife uses it, and I've started to use it too. She uses the standard CBD oil for pain, but she prefers the soap because she thinks it smells good. Like I said, the oat and honey soap, it is available with or without CBD. So become pain-free while smelling fresh today by clicking the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL20, BTL20. Save 20% off your first purchase with Sugar Mountain Trading. Final week of September. Jim Kimmel averaged 4.9 million viewers with 752,000 in the 18 to 49 demo. Now, this was the week that included the immaculate return of Jim Kimmel to ABC. 1 week after being temporarily fired, Jim made his triumphant return and immediately put everybody to sleep. His return episode drew 6.2 million viewers, and he was able to somewhat maintain that audience through the first week. But as expected, normal people instantly realized that Jim Kimmel had not changed. Normal people instantly realized that he was still dealing with toxic symptoms of stage 4 OMB. And as a result, normal people decided to watch anything but Jim Kimmel. Whether it's Real Housewives of Uganda, which stars the eyes of the wife of Zorro Mamdani, since the rest of her face is covered by the required burqa. If you're an investor in New York City, I highly suggest that you invest in burqa brands. If Zorro becomes mayor, who knows? Maybe every woman in the city will be buying burqas. Anyway, over the last 3 weeks, normal people have done what they do best, which is ignore Jim Kimmel. Last week, ratings for his late night dump declined 53%, with a 67% decline in the key demo. Last week, Jim Kimmel averaged 2.3 million viewers with 249,000 in the demo. Where in the hell did almost 3 million people go? In the span of 3 weeks, how in the hell did you turn away nearly 3 million people? I wonder if segments like this had anything to do with it. How many of you guys have ever heard of Brian Michael Furcus? Anyone? Anyone familiar with Mike Furcus? To be fair to Mike, I am guilty of dead naming him here or her. Hell, maybe Mike prefers they, them pronouns, because Mike is now choosing to go by the name Trixie Mattel. To their credit, Trixie is a very successful drag queen. Trixie has been featured on RuPaul's Drag Race. Trixie landed the lead role in something called The Bald and the Beautiful. I believe that show is now starring Simone Sanders, Joy Reid, and the other balding beauties at MSNBC. But when the show premiered, Trixie Mattel was the star of the show. Not only does Trixie identify with the T, Trixie also identifies with the G in LGBT. Not bad, right? Trixie properly identifies with 50% of the alphabet. But all kidding aside, I'm sure Trixie Mattel is a talented performer. If Trixie wants to perform with RuPaul, if Trixie wants to star in shows meant for adults, who cares? The problem is, Jim Kimmel hired Trixie Mattel for a segment involving very young children. Watch for yourself.
Do I scare any of you?
No.
Really?
You just look amazing.
Oh my
Why would
God.
that be scary?
That is so affirming. Thank you so much. Well, I have a whole pile of books here. What if we chose one together? Who cares about elderly people?
No.
This is Collectible Spoons of the Third Reich. Okay, would you guys like to read a book by President Trump?
Please.
Whoa, hold up. What about President Trump's least favorite son. Listen, we have to pay respect because this ghostwriter worked really hard on this. Is everybody here potty trained? Matthew, are you potty trained?
Yeah.
You don't seem sure.
Oh, Brian! I mean, Trixie! You're so funny! You're teaching the importance of potty training in the litter box! For starters, I thought Jim Kimmel and his pretend friends in the mainstream media were worried about the children. Over the last couple of years, they have been preaching about the importance of saving the lives of Palestinian children. Oh, the children! It's all about the children! But when it comes to American children, they are willing to expose them to drag queens. You know, we used to have standards of decency in this country. Programs that aired on the broadcast networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, programs that aired on free TV, they had to abide by standards of decency. For example, they're not allowed to curse. They're not allowed to show nudity. They're not allowed to do a lot of the things that you can get away with on cable. If you're a parent, you used to be able to trust the broadcast networks with your children. Unfortunately, that's just no longer the case. 20 years ago, 15, maybe even 10 years ago, there is absolutely no way that segment would be broadcast by ABC. And it's not because Trixie Mattel did or said anything offensive. The reason ABC wouldn't allow it, they would be terrified of the outrage from parents. But KC, Jim Kimmel's a late night show. His show is for adults. It's not made for the children. Then why in the hell does he have kids on the show? If the show isn't made for children, why in the hell are children on the show? Once again, they are trying to normalize this behavior. They are trying to make it seem normal that kids are not only being exposed to drag queens, the drag queen is their teacher. Have you guys noticed that a lot of these maniacs at the No Kings protest, a lot of these people on social media that were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, have you noticed that a lot of them were teachers? These are the people responsible for educating your children. And what are they teaching them? They're teaching them to hate anyone they disagree with, and they're teaching them that it's normal for a grown man to dress like a damn woman. Jim Kimmel should be fired for this segment, but he won't be. Nothing will happen. After what happened last time, ABC is terrified to fire Jim Kimmel. Uncle KC, that's right. That decision was bad for business. Disney lost millions of subscribers when they fired Jim Kimmel last month. That's not necessarily true. That's the lie the media's telling you, but not necessarily true. Yes, the Wanker Spankers canceled their subscription after Jim Kimmel was fired by ABC, but Disney was able to somewhat compensate those losses with new subscribers who signed up, maybe because Jim Kimmel was fired. For some reason, ABC, Jim Kimmel, along with Democrat politicians, for some reason, they are terrified of their radical base. There were reports leaked earlier this afternoon. Democrat politicians, they are agreeing to reopen the government behind the scenes. But they're afraid to say it publicly because they're afraid of the backlash from their radical base. They're afraid of people who are allergic to taking a bath. Have you ever heard the old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend? Believe it or not, normal Democrats and Republicans have the same enemy. The lunatics, the unbathables, Antifa, the people living in tents in Portland, the people bottling their own farts so they can smell it later. If normal Democrats would unite with the rest of the country, the radicals would be defeated. All they got to do is let the Trumper handle it, and Antifa, they would be defeated instantly. But for some reason, Democrats refuse to do it. For some reason, they would rather continue living in fear. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.